Well, blue sky and the sun is coming out. Well, I say what I want to touch on is the great train stoppers incident. More police than the great train robber incident. And if you Google Johnny Botwright, you will see the Criminal Review Commission took up my case. Said one transport police officer, Mark Simpson, motorcycle police officer on his way to London, not in uniform, had clearly acted outside the execution of his duty according to his own witnesses. That was a battery towards myself. I'd only used appropriate force in self-defence to back the big gorilla off. He was a big block, over 6 foot, twice the size of me. It's a motorcycle transport copper from London, throwing his weight around on a train, and they ordered it back into Crown Court, but the red robe judge would not even consider the complaint. And if you Google Johnny Botwright in the Criminal Review Commission, it was alleged that I used threatening and abusive violent behaviour, which was never the case. That was all a big setup, monster lie. So one big setup by the transport police. And that was interesting too. Obviously it's just come out online. First I ever knew about it was Derek Ridgewell, a transport police detective, sergeant, who absolutely fitted up a load of people, and Eric Campbell was one of them, who cleared his dad's name. Took him 50 years. Others too, who were set up by this very corrupt transport police detective. And like I say, they done a right number on me. And interestingly too, you know, when I did get off the train before it got into Dis, because they pulled the train up outside of Dis, and I did make it home, and the transport police sent 13 police officers to arrest me. And when I asked, you know, how come there's so many of them, Dis police had told them that I was the big mad monster, psycho serial killer. I really don't think so. And as always, not me leaving the body of a 17-year-old sex trafficked girl on the Royal Sandringham Estate killing fields. Their high royal blue crime, blue murder, certainly not mine. So I went to the Magistrates Court, the great train stoppers incident at Thetford. I got found guilty because I didn't show any remorse. And I said, well, why should I show remorse? They said, if I walk out of this court and someone jumps on my back, I'm going to remove that person also. But that was the reason that the magistrates, I appealed and went to Crown Court. At the Crown Court, the first Crown Court hearing, the judge more or less said the police can do whatever they want to you. And if they step over the line or do something, you just have to put in a complaint. You're not allowed to put hands on a police officer and back him off you. That was his premise. I was found guilty again. And then I say the Criminal Review Commission took up my case. And again, from the evidence of his own witnesses, stated quite clearly, Mark Simpson, again, he was off duty, not in uniform, and acted clearly outside the execution of his duty. It was battery towards myself, and I'd only use self-defence in appropriate force to back him off myself. And so you get woke up with a police officer jumping fully on your back, and again he was a big block, and then with his big gorilla hands round your throat, obviously you're going to back that person off yourself, which I did. But the red robe judge claimed that I'd used too much force to back the big gorilla off myself, Mark Simpson, again big, over 6 foot, motorcycle transport copper from London throwing his weight around. So he was the one causing the problem. I hadn't been cautioned, wasn't under arrest, and the incident was all on CCTV footage that the transport police made disappear on the platform, also on the train. They took the tapes and then claimed the CCTV footage film wasn't working, and I spoke to the guy in the CCTV office in Norwich, and he said yes, the transport police took the tape, so it was working. So one big cover up, one big stitch up. So for a £5 train journey, and we certainly weren't trying to avoid a £5 train ticket, that was another big monster lie. I had a £50 note on me. Brian had £175 on him. We had gone up to Norwich in a taxi, 25 quid, so we weren't quibbed about it. And we were in the guard's van, which is half passenger and half the guard's van, so certainly not where you'd be if you were trying to avoid paying for a £5 train ticket, which we weren't, but that was just another big monster lie mixed into the fix. Loads of false statements from the conductor, the stewardess, and Mark Simpson, the police officer. They told everything but the truth. So a £5 train journey from Norwich to Dis cost me £2,000 with court costs, loss of earnings. I even had to pay him £100 compensation, Mark Simpson, because he lost a button off his gal's blouse when I backed him off myself. So he was the one who caused the problem. He was the one who acted completely outside the execution of his duty. That was battery towards myself. I was only acting in self-defence with appropriate force, but I was the one made to take the fall. And at that time you could have gone on 3 world cruises for £700. So I could have gone round the world 3 times for what it cost me in court costs, loss of earnings, compensation, 3 court cases in the great big train stoppers incident. And again, I was completely stitched up by the transport police, Anglia Railways, and the courts, the legal system, who couldn't have little old me turn them around. Again, so that was their crime. So the person who really committed the crime, he walked away scot-free, and I was made to take the fall, be the scapegoat. And that is very much a case. I'm going to do another story also involving 11 police officers. That's not what happens. There's always 2 parallel stories. That's what really happens, the truth, and then what they allege happens. 2 parallel stories, and they will absolutely fabricate evidence and stitch you up left, right and centre, so you take the fall. Even though they're the ones who commit the crime, they walk away scot-free. So that was the great train stoppers incident. And again, if you Google Johnny Botwright, you will see the Criminal Review Commission took up my case. And for the red robe judge not to even consider their evidence that Mark Simpson acted outside the execution of his duty, and that was battery towards myself, they wouldn't even entertain the evidence, even though it was clearly in front of them in black and white. So that's just how corrupt the system, the police and the courts are, to make sure you take the fall, you take the hit, and certainly not those who have committed the real crimes. And again, no Clockwork Orange, Norwich train station, mountain bike Rapist here. Again, I was in Norwich, half a mile from Norwich train station, but I was on a woman's black Dutchy bike, not a mountain bike, all mixed into the black shroud of Sandringham just to set me up further. Fully on camera, Norwich City Centre, Norwich Cathedral, Mousehold Heath overlooking Norwich. The man following the woman at Norwich train station, younger than me, had a hoodie on. He was on a mountain bike. I was on a woman's black Dutchy bike. Given away free to a good home on the Burston Gisson Road, Gregson's Two Fishers Art Gallery. So no Peter Cook Cambridge, blonde wig, black rapist mask, no O.J. Simpson, Black Sandringham serial killer gloves in my backpack. I really don't think so. High Royal blue crime, New Year's Day find. September blue murder, and certainly not mine. Royal Sandringham Estate killing fields, late Prince Philip's favourite hunting area. See Prince Harry the Spare for details. As always, that is the word that came off the Royal Sandringham Estate. Killing fields, laid and clear. They're High Royal blue crime, blue murder. Like I say, they certainly hunt more than birds of prey on the Royal Sandringham Estate. Killing fields, how do I know? Little birdie told me so. So certainly is the one. Anyhow, God bless, take care.